a lot of business advice talks about needing to find your ideal customer or your ideal avatar or your perfect client, whatever words you want to use to describe it. The idea is that you need to be able to understand who the perfect customer is that wants to buy your specific stuff, where they live, where they shop. Really, ultimately, frankly, what a lot of these descriptions miss is what in life is important to them, their values, what makes them tick, and of course, what makes them to decide to choose your item over another one. And yes, all of this is true. It is important to figure out that ideal customer. But what most business coaches or advice Instagrams or books or whatever other resources you're finding out there, what most of them don't tell you is that it is nearly impossible to figure out who that ideal customer is without first actually putting yourself out there and trying to sell your work. Over time, you'll learn who that person is by adding to your experiences of what feels right for you and what hasn't felt that great. And yes, I know we all want to skip past the awkward preteen phase of the business years of having to face a person who's questioning your prices without us actually feeling confident in those prices ourselves yet. I get it. There's a lot of awkward, uncomfortable scenarios to work through before all of this even feels slightly, quote unquote, natural. But a huge way to avoid that discomfort is to know with absolute certainty that what you are doing is taking care of people. Not recommending the most expensive item in your booth because you really want to make that sale and based on the purse that person is carrying, you think they could afford that thing. But instead, recommending the item you genuinely think will solve the problem that this person has described to you. While I could tell you all about how to define an ideal customer, at the end of the day, what I was reminded of during my chat with Makeda Smith is that all of this making a living from the things we make craziness starts with building relationships. Not only between fellow makers to help lift us up through this unknown, as you hear me talk all about so much with regards to the importance of having a community, but also it starts in building relationships with the people that we're meeting that may or may not buy our work. We're going to dig into it all right after a quick word from our sponsor.
Hi, I'm Cammie, the purchasing manager at Amico, providing you with everything you need for clay. This episode is brought to you by Amico Brent. Find your favorite Amico glaze or Brent equipment at your local distributor. Happy glazing.
Now, on with the show. Welcome to the Maker's Playbook, the show where we talk all about what it's really like to make a living from the things you make. I'm your host, seasoned entrepreneur of 13 years, Rebecca Ikes-Kara. Hey, Makeda, welcome to the podcast.
Hey!
We just all of a sudden got official. We were like totally rocking and rolling, and now it's like, oh gosh, okay. For people who don't know who I'm talking to, how would you introduce yourself?
Hey, y'all. My name is Makeda Smith. I am the founder and owner of Scio Ceramics here in Washington, D.C.
Which means we're not going to be, am I going to see you at Nsika this year again? Because that's like backyard.
It's close, but I think I have a wedding around the same time, so I'm trying to get it together.
You made it all the way to the Midwest. Well, I consider Ohio the Midwest. Whatever, that's up for debate. That's a different podcast.
It is. Yeah, it's inland. Like, it's far.
It's hilarious. Well, that's, as I referenced, we met in person for the first time last March and totally just like, I feel like just connected right away. And
Yes.
I don't even know where to begin my questions because as I joked before we hit record, I think you have more going on than I'm even aware of.
I'll have a million things going on. Doing too much, doing the most. That's me.
So you have a retail space, right? Right? Did I see that you also are still doing some education and teaching with little ones, not necessarily with Clay?
I actually just quit.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, she's a quitter. Hey, she's out of here. Yep, I am now a full-time ceramicist, business owner. I'm just leaning completely into it.
Okay, well, this just changes the whole conversation now. Like,
Mhm.
okay, all right. Also, you have a beautiful baby girl who was still cooking when I met you. So like that's a brand new like I'm just like, how are you doing all the things and you look well rested? People can't see you right now, but like I need a skincare routine.
Honestly, when you have a baby that like sleeps when you sleep and like, you're on the same page, I mean, she's the best. I don't know about these other moms, but my time, cash money. That girl is amazing. We love her.
And so how old is she now?
She will be 6 months on the 1st.
Awesome. Amazing. Oh, wait, November?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cute. Because my birthday's the 9th. So I was like, oh, no, 6 months, 6 months. We're halvesies. I'll just calm down. So we've been through some growth spurts already. She's already still sleeping with you. So it's not like it's like this period of time either. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So unicorn baby, that's the solution to that one.
I feel like she'll try to like trick you to have another one, but it's not happening. We're good. We're done. One and done. Got my womb fruit. I'm happy.
That's amazing. And shop is now closed.
Done. We're done.
Okay, so tell me about this move then into, well, let's back it up a little bit in terms of like, how did you get into ceramics? And then I want to talk about this move into full time.
Yeah, so I got into ceramics in college. I went to Stetson University, and funny story, there was a guy in my intro to studio art class that I thought was super cute. He was so cute. And he was taking ceramics. So I was like, let me take ceramics too. And then I took the class. I love ceramics. Nothing ever happened with this boy ever. We're still friends to this day. Shout out to you, homie.
I was like, does he know this story or are we breaking news right
Yeah,
now?
he knows the story. But yeah, so I took the class and I was like, I love this. This is so fun. Like I did a hand building and then I was like, all right, let's just keep taking more classes. It was not my intention to end up getting like a minor in art, but I did. And I loved it. And fun fact, Kim Ferguson of Chaos Creates, that's my bestie. We went to Stetson together and we took a lot of those classes together.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. Who else was I'm not gonna remember now. There was somebody else I was talking to who took a class. It wasn't Steven. It was, I can't remember now, who like was trying, there was like a girl in the class and then she could center so much. Like he was like, I can center this 10-pound ball of clay if she can't, and it was like, nope. Still can't.
Yeah. No, it was like, yeah, I definitely was like in the class kind of like, oh my God, hi. And then I was like, actually, I don't even care about you. I just like want to make the art. This is a lot of fun. So yeah, I got a minor in art and I really loved it. And then graduated from Stetson, decided I was going to become an educator. So I did my teaching program, got my master's. And while I was doing it, I was just like, oh my God, this is so much work. I'm so tired. Like I need an outlet. So I decided I was like, I'm going to, get back into it. So I took a class. I actually really hated the class. So I quit in the middle of it. And then I was bopping around DC and I saw a studio and I popped in and I just started chatting up the shop owner. And then I ended up becoming a resident at their studio. So I was there being a resident, living my best life, like just having so much fun, making weird things, sculptures. That's where I started off doing just like a lot of sculptural work. And that's like what I really love to do. And then I was like, all right, cool. Let me make a little Instagram for my work, which it was so funny because it started off as Sayo Art. Like I was like, oh, I'm an artiste.
I don't want to be boxed in.
Yeah, I want to have all the things. And I was like, girl, this is not good for marketing. Let's wrap this up. Let's get in the niche area. And I was like, all right, Saya Ceramics. So I did that. I had a lot of encouragement from a good friend, Ashley. And she was like, I'll, take pictures of your work. I'll help you. Yeah. And so I did that. And then I started just kind of wild, and I had a home art show. I decided because I kept applying for freaking shows and no one was accepting my work. Like I was not in the in crew, like I was not cool. And so I was just like, forget this. I'm going to have a show at my house. So I cleared out my entire apartment, like everything out of my apartment. This is like a DC 1-bedroom apartment. Like,
Yeah, we got to put this into perspective for people. It costs of living in DC, like you're like, okay, it's not New York City, but it's not far.
it's close, okay? We're up there like LA, DC, New York, trying to make us spend every last coin on like 2 feet of area to live in, which is ridiculous.
A closet is going to cost you a couple grand.
Essentially, that's what I was living in. I was like, we gonna make this a gallery today. So I cleared out everything. I had invited all my friends and like family over. And mind you, it's so trifling because it's just such a small apartment. So people were like funneling in and out, hanging out in the front of the apartment. Like this is like a 4-unit, like an old like building. And I had the best time. My friends bought art from me, which I was kind of like, oh, my art, I'm sensitive. I don't want to show it. But people were like, oh no, like I'll buy this. Like this is cool, Kita. Like you should keep going. And I was like, what? Y'all really like this? So that gave me like that by itself gave me so much confidence. I was like, wait, I'm amazing. I'm a bad bitch. I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep doing things like this. So that's kind of like the fun origin story.
I love that so much because I also love that it allowed you to start in a safe space. You know what I mean? Because like showing up to a farmer's market or something where nobody knows nobody from anybody, you have to then have the like self-confidence or self-assurance of knowing like I'm going to keep making what I like to make regardless of how people respond. That takes like time to work up that thick skin, like I didn't feel that way.
I was sensitive about my art. I was like, not even in college, I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm an artist. I was like, oh, look at this fun thing I made. And I showed like 2 of my friends. Or like if I was in like a show at school, I would invite like a couple of my sorority sisters to just like come through. So I didn't like make a big deal out of it. I wasn't confident in that part of my identity in school. That was just not really me. But I feel like being in DC, seeing so much art, I just kind of started to have like those seeds of confidence kind of like planted in me through friendships and just through being able to be creative again. And like, honestly, it's grown a lot.
That's amazing. And isn't it interesting how something changes in our brains when we say, I am a whatever it is, right? Because I was the exact same way when I first started the photography business to where I was like, I'm just like, I'm doing this thing and I'm still applying for jobs and and then I remember a friend of mine, Garrett, pointed out like a year later, he was like, the way you talk about this is no longer the same. I went from talking about it with like a question mark at the end to talking about it with a period.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely kind of how I felt and I still feel about myself. It was very much a like, oh, I like to make art. This is the thing I made. Like, art is cool. But like, I was always separating myself from the art. Like, I wasn't a part of art. Art was just this thing over here that was cool and like not a part of me. But then when I finally started saying like, I am an artist, I am a ceramic artist, I am a ceramicist, like, you kind of put a little like bass in your voice when you say it. Like you just like, put some respect on my name. Like I'm an artist. That is me. That's a part of my identity. And like, I think that being able to take ownership of that part of my identity has worked wonders for like my confidence and like me being able to put myself out there and me being okay with being rejected. Like even like putting my art out there and people being like, girl, what is this? Like, this doesn't fit the vibe of what we're going for. Or like, you make too much of one thing. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I'm just not for you. And that's fine. And like being okay with that, I think it took a while to build up. I don't think you just step into that immediately. And I think sometimes I have like friends and like, oh my God, you're so confident. You do so good. You do this. And I'm like, this is a work. Like, this is something I had to like cultivate within myself. This was not overnight, scenario. Like, of course I think I'm awesome, but like, I didn't think I was an artist.
Yeah.
How are you going to be an artist and not think you're an artist? That makes no sense.
Yep, absolutely. It took me, I mean, like the way I talk to people now about sales or marketing or whatever, I'm like, it took me 13 years of like, I've been doing this full time for 13 years to get to the place where I can just point blank, literally just yesterday we had a message on Etsy that said, you know, is the $55 for one mug? And like 10 years ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I know it is a lot of money. And this now, like, I'm just laughing at it. Like, I took a screenshot of it and sent it to a friend and was like, we're going for short and peppy. And I just responded, yep, exclamation point.
Yeah, no, for real. It's like, no, this is the cost, boo.
And actually, it's underpriced. I hate to break it to you. It is underpriced.
Lord, we could talk about that one all day.
Look, you're the one with the storefront now, and I've been down that route. So I want to hear about what this, you know, this space, because you had the storefront before you just went full time, right? Like how you've been in that space for a little while now?
Yeah, so I've been there since 2021, January of 2021. And then I opened in April. Yeah, so 2 years and some change, almost 3 years. I've been there. Happened hella fast. I started Scio Ceramics officially, got my business license in 2020 because I had time. I had nothing else to do. We were in a pandemic. I was like, I ain't going nowhere. I might as well just like...
The government actually figured out how you could apply for these things online, so you didn't even have to go into an office.
And of course, I applied incorrectly the first time and wasted a whole bunch of money. Had to do that thing again. That was like, y'all really out here finessing us with these little coins.
Look.
So yeah, I did that in 2020. And mind you, all these things, like, I know people don't like the woo-woo, but baby girl made a vision board and almost all the stuff on that vision board came to life because I was ready to put in the work. I was like, all right, cool, we're going to do this. Like, and I got my space. It was super happenstance. Like another girl who was on the Arts Walk, amazing artist, Marcy, we love you. She was like, hey, a space on the Arts Walk's open up. And she's like, you should see about it. And so I was like hounding them like, hey, like, I want to know about this space. How do I get in the space? And had to be super persistent and very irritating, which is really not me. I was like, I don't want to bother you. I just really want this space. But then I was like, nah, I want this space. Stop playing with me. Like, can I get it? And they were like, yes, we like you. You can have it. So I got it. And getting started in a retail space is hard freaking work.
Yeah. So tell me, what is the Art Walk? Is that like a specific neighborhood in DC? Is it like, because there's a lot of like old factory buildings in Chicago that are repurposed to where individual studios are in there and everybody kind of knows that, or what? Yeah. Tell me about it.
So it's the Brooklyn Arts Walk. So this space has 20 plus artist studios that is right under an apartment building. So it's managed by Bizzuto. It's really cool that they created it because it's all subsidized art spaces for artists. So
speaking of unicorns, unicorn baby, unicorn art space. What?
Yeah, it's dope. Like, it's amazing. It's right off the Brooklyn CUA Metro. So on the Red Line, come through, y'all, and right across from Catholic University. So it's really nice. We have a farmer's market every Saturday. So people come with their families. They come with their friends. We have students that come through that come and shop the farmer's market, but also come and shop with the artists. So it's a beautiful space in DC. It's amazing. Like, we are super, super blessed to have something like that. And I really think that it's something that we should see across cities in multiple communities. So like, we have one in Brooklyn, but I think there should be multiple across DC, because having that subsidized space to be able to create and to sell your work is so clutch. Like, it is amazing.
And it being in this space where you're actually getting foot traffic for other purposes and foot traffic that is weekly, right? Like, people have their habit of a farmer's market.
Mm-hmm.
They go each week, they get their produce. So maybe they see your stuff one week and they kind of like are looking in the window, but they're not ready to come in. The next week they come in, the next week they buy. Right? I'm just hypothetically, but I'm guessing that's...
And that happens. I have really lovely customers. I'm super thankful to have like people that are like, oh my goodness, like, I I didn't know you were here. This is so cute. And they come back and they're like, oh, I bought earrings from my girlfriend. And then it's like, okay, me and my girlfriend, we're getting engaged. I'm going to get her another pair of earrings. And I'm like, so I get to be a part of your gift giving? Like, I get to be a part of like, you know, generations of like, I have this father-daughter duo that comes sees me like, I would say at least once a month. And they'll be like, oh, you know, I'm getting something for auntie that's coming in town. Or like, we have 3 generations that have your earrings now. Like, so it's really cool because I get to be a part of people's everyday life. I have people that just come in, they'll buy something, or they just want to chat me up and they come by and say hi every single Saturday. And it's just like a really nice way to build community, not just make sales. Like when you build that community piece, when you have those really healthy relationships with people, when they want to see you and talk to you, then it's so much easier to have consistent customers because you're not just someone to purchase from, you're part of their everyday life.
Yes. Yes. Because now it's not like, oh, there's so many things that you just said, but that last one, especially in terms of like, it's no longer transactional, right? It's relational. And like, yes, the goal is still to sell ceramics, but you know, there's a different, I don't know, what is it, like trust factor or comfort? Like you're not going to deal with I made the reference to Etsy earlier. The problematic conversations I have had on Etsy, I have never had with someone that we have like an actual relationship with. And neither one of us are talking. I can hear somebody in the background somewhere thinking like, because people talk about like with sales, oh, you want to, like they try to make the metaphor with relationships, right? Of like marrying someone instead of dating. Like you don't ask to marry somebody on the first date or whatever. And I'm like, we're not talking about like building relationships in a, maybe you do wind up with a best friend out of it. That is possible. But like you can still have a meaningful relationship and someone buy something from you, knowing that that's still the goal. And that's still an authentic relationship. I think this is like people have a hard time like threading that needle, right? Of like, and maybe you can put better words to it.
And I think, at least for me, I think I do really well with that because I'm a very relationship-based person. I've been in education that's been my whole career. So building building rapport has become a very like essential skill of mine, especially building rapport with families, working in Title I schools. People don't trust you right off the bat, right? So you have to show them like, I am a trustworthy person. Like I have your best interest in mind. So even when people come in to buy earrings or to just look around, this is for you. You're spending your money here if you want to. I'm just, a part of that scenario. I'm here to chat you up. You want to talk about how your day is going. You want to talk about how your dog just threw up in the carpet before you got here. And this is the only thing that's making you happy right now is smelling this good candle in this jar. Like, let's talk about it. Like, we all need community. We need relationships. And I feel like because that's such a thing that people are like hoping for and wishing for, being able just to take the time out of your day to ask someone how they're doing and actually sit there and listen. Like, actually listen. Like, I'm not going to ask you, how are you? And not sit and listen. Like, I want to know, like, all right, did your baby just keep you up all night? Like, is your boyfriend being really annoying and snoring, like, and keeping you up too? Like, so you got a baby crying and like a snoring boyfriend? I want to know about it. Tell me everything. Like, making sure people feel heard and like cared about makes people want to purchase from you because they know they're getting it from an actual human being and not just something that was manufactured a bajillion times with cheap labor. Like they want to know this thing that I'm purchasing means something. It meant something to you. You took the time to craft it. So it's going to mean something to me. And when you can put meaning behind the things that you create and people can see that for themselves, then I think that really helps to get the sales there. So like, I feel like I work on relationships first and the sales always come.
Yes. Because also people can feel when you're just selling them, right?
Oh, they know.
If I come in and I'm like, oh, do you think I should get these earrings or these earrings? And you just default to the more expensive ones without a beat of like, let me see what looks like, let's put one on each and then let's thoughtfully talk this through. I have recommended things in a market, like in our booth in a market when someone's debating between things. And I'm recommending the less expensive item, not because I don't want the bigger sale, but because what they've just told me that they're looking for or the gift they're trying to give, this is the thing that makes more sense.
Yeah. And if you give people what they actually want, they will return. If you bought like the $20 on sale earrings and you really, really like them and you're so happy with them, you're going to come back and you're going to buy a more expensive pair because you really liked it. You might buy the full price item later. So it's like every transaction, it should be for that person's benefit. How is this benefiting you? You're spending your money in this spot. How's it benefiting you? And I feel like there is an energy when it comes to transactions with people. And I want that energy to be as positive as possible. If you come in my space and you see something you like and you get it, I want you to be happy all the way through until that item kicks the bucket, like, and you want to come back again. If you only want to buy one item and that's it forever, that's also fine too. If you don't want to buy something here, that means it's not for you. So I want the things that are produced by me to be actually for the people that purchase them. I want them to be happy with what they have.
I love that you even just mentioned if you come in and there's nothing here for you, that's okay too, because you can still leave someone can still walk away feeling good. And then ultimately, maybe, they tell their friend about that space to say, there wasn't anything for me, but actually, this is totally your style.
Yeah, my cousin might like this, or like, oh, I heard she does workshops. I would love to do a workshop here. So it's just like really leaning into what your customers want without also compromising the things that you want to do. And I feel like that's a nice balance and, act to have. But I feel like it's easy for me to do that because I've had to differentiate learning for children for so long. So it's very easy for me to see like, oh, this person needs this. This person doesn't need this. This doesn't work for them. Like, being able to identify that even in a shopping experience makes it easy for me to make the sales that I need to sustain myself.
That's a really interesting crossover of skills. I don't know what the specific question is, but I just want to hear more about it in terms of like what you learned from education with that.
I'd love to talk about it. So I taught in special education for many years, about 6 or 7 years. I taught special education. So I work with kids with various learning and intellectual disabilities. So I might have a student that is autistic, or I might have a student that is dyslexic. Their needs are completely different, right? But I need to teach to that child and to their needs. So really fine tuning in, like getting to know the child. What do they need? What are their wants? What are their goals? Like, being able to like identify that and being able to actually help them to be able to learn and to like understand new concepts has been honestly one of my greatest joys. But I also see how that works with every human being. Like, because the way in my classroom, it was an inclusion classroom. So the students with disabilities and the students that are general education were all together. Okay. The children did not know that there was a difference between me and my co-teacher. We were just the teachers. There was no like, oh, she's the SPED teacher, she's this. Like, so when you work in an environment where you can really lean into everyone's learning and everyone's need, and like kids cannot differentiate, like, I'm so different from this kid. Yeah. We very much created an environment of you get what you need. Like, mind your business. Don't worry about why such and such has blocks in their hands and you don't have blocks. You don't need blocks. This child needs blocks, right? Like, so really focusing on like, what does that individual need has really helped me even just like in my business, because I want to meet the needs of what that person wants and give them what they need and not give them what I think they need. People know what they need and they'll tell you, but you need to be the person that listens.
And the other piece that you had mentioned earlier was that balancing, also equally important for all of us, protecting our own energy, is finding the intersection of those needs with what you actually want to make, right? You're not out here like, oh, somebody asked you if you can make a teapot, and now all of a sudden you're making teapots when, I hope that teapots are always the examples.
I have learned the hard way with that too, because I end up doing it and I didn't want to do it. So I think the piece is ugly and you might be so happy with it, but I just wasted however many hours doing this thing that I didn't want to do in the first place. So why did I do that? So I think that's been like the hard thing, especially with me and commissions. Like sometimes you're like, oh my goodness, I really do need this money. I like should take this job. And it's like, do you need that energy? Like, is that exchange of energy actually worth it for you? And that's been something I had to learn like very much the hard way. But now I'm in a space of like, you gonna get what I give you. So either you want this or you don't want this. And if you don't want what I have lots of Potter friends. You can talk to this person. Like I had someone ask me, can I make her earn? No, but you can go to this person. Oh, like, do you do throwing classes? No, I don't do throwing classes, but material things does, throwing classes. So I'm very quick to redirect you to somebody who can meet your needs. And I think that's really important because like we're in an ecosystem all together. If you're winning, I'm winning. If you know that such and such needs some new mugs for their apartment and you think that I'm their style, tell them about me. Hype me up. And then, of course, if I'm going to do the same thing for you, like everyone has their unique styles and things that they can do. And I want to lean into like, what are my strengths, but what's also the strengths of my community. And that also means the community of other artists and not just me. Like we all like, it's so abundant out here. We all can like get it. I'm not worried. I'm going to get mine regardless. Like I'm going to be taken care of. So like, if I know good and damn well, I'm not about to sit here and do a throwing class for you, I'm going to tell you where to go.
Well, and you're going to give that person a better experience, right? If throwing is not your happy space and you have to then spend however many days leading up to this workshop to try and figure out how the hell you're even going to teach the damn thing, then like, what is that person really learning in that experience of the workshop? As opposed to referring out a friend who is so appreciative of you referring them to begin with. So that's just goodwill vibes right there. But then that's someone who teaches 3 times a week, every week, and it's built into their brain, right?
It's being very aware of your strengths and leaning into your strengths. Like if I can do that with students leaning into their strengths, I need to be able to do that within myself. So if I know I am an excellent hand builder, like we're going to do a hand building workshop or a class, yes, come to me. But if you know I'm not about to sit here and throw with you every Wednesday for 3 hours, absolutely not. You go down the street. Go down the street. They will be happy to take you and you are going to have the best time ever because what I'm about to do is be in here mad over a couple $100. To me, like the money is a reflection of the quality and the value that I'm putting out there. So if I am putting in the work, if I am providing value for you, then that transaction it's gold. It's exactly what I needed. Like that's what it should be. Like I will be taken care of. If I need to go teach again, I'll go teach again. Like we'll make it work, but I just want people to have a great experience when they're with me. And I want that to follow them. And not just be trying to make the sale just because I need to. I've done that. I've tried to make the sale just because I need the money. And it doesn't feel good. It feels icky. It feels gross. And
it almost always comes back to bite you in the ass.
It does.
Like something goes wrong. That's the person who wants a refund or they want it differently than what you thought. Or, that's where the communication then breaks down because... And I'm saying this for myself too. I have to remember it every time. I mean, we just had a corporate client who has yet to finish paying. Like book at the last minute. There were red flags. They didn't have things quite figured out. And so then we weren't clear on what they were expecting. And yeah, guess what? Now I'm like losing sleep because I'm worried that they don't want to, because to me, then the photos didn't turn out at the same quality that I usually expect. And I'm like, okay, so is that why they haven't paid the second half of their bill because they're not happy? Like, I don't want to have that conversation. Like every time.
Your gut will tell you. Your gut will tell on your butt in a second because mine always does. It'll be like, come on, you're not supposed to be doing that. And I'm like, well, but no. And it's like,
It's the well, but. It's the well when your voice raises inside your head, like, well, but.
It's like, nah, no, you shouldn't be doing that. And you're not supposed to.
I think going back to what you were saying about like, being known for hand building, being known for specific things. I think it's also like, what is it? I don't know if it's a paradox or it's not intuitive for people because most of us think like, oh, if we say yes to all of the things, then we will have a greater audience or we will have more people coming to us or whatever, when in fact the inverse is actually the
That's
truth. Like
Mhm.
when I think about earrings, I think about you, period. And people can go to you, like you're giving people a way to remember you very clearly. Because if you kind of do a little bit of everything, well, what's memorable about that? Like you're not going to pop into someone's mind when they get asked, hey, can you make me a set of earrings, when somebody's usually a wheel thrower who makes teapots? Like, no, you want them to remember, boom, here's where I'm going to send them.
That's exactly right. And that's been like also kind of the hard part of being known for one thing is like, I started off as SIO art. I want to make all the art, right? But it's like, no, you need to scale down. You need to find out who your audience actually is. The people that will rock with you will rock with you. Having, 10,000 followers that actually don't care about your work is not as meaningful as having 2,000 followers that are like ride or die and want to like buy every single thing that you have. So like, that's also just like a really important no for any new maker out there. It's like, yes, the rise to notoriety is really awesome and we love that. But are you getting the sales? You can be visible, but are you creating the impact that you actually intended to have? Are you impactful? Are you providing value for people? If you're not doing those things and you got 100,000 followers, then what was the point? What was the reason?
You just made Instagram a lot more money. Yep. Oh man, this, like, we got to repeat everything you just, like, I just want everybody to pause, do the like 15-second back button, re-listen to that last.
Just listen to it again. Run it back.
Exactly. Because, oh God, it is. I rip my hair out at everybody constantly asking how to grow. And it's like, but why? Are we asking why? Now, for me right now, in wanting to kind of pivot where I'm putting my efforts as a career and be more into the Maker's Playbook, yes, I know that when I look at my numbers, I need to grow for these specific numbers so that we have this specific revenue so that I can be viable and I can pay my bills.
Right.
But that's like, but I know the why and I know where that number is. It's not just growth ad nauseum, like however many, I don't know what the top, because you hear from everybody as soon as you hit 10K, well, now 10K is not the big number anymore. Now it's 30. Now it's 1 million. Now it's, there's always somebody out there with a larger perceived following, but like, why?
But are they creating impact? And is the impact that they're giving what they actually want? Like, are you providing value for others?
Yep.
Like, are you just doing a TikTok dance or an Insta dance just so that you can get views? I'm not doing the song and dance for y'all. Like, it's not happening. And if I want to do it, it's because I genuinely want to do it and not because I need you to follow me, because I need that internal validation. A lot of it is like, is this about your ego or is this about you providing value for other people? Like, those are two different things. And that's something I even have to check myself on, is like, oh, I really want to grow. I like need to be bigger. I need to be this. And it's just like, but why though?
Yep.
Is this about you? Is this because you need this validation so that you feel better about yourself? Like, why is your self-worth tied to how many people you have? And like, I have to check myself all the time about that, because it's very easy to get caught up into that cycle of thinking of like, I need more so that I can feel better. And it's like, no, actually, you need to enjoy what you have right now and more will come. But you need to provide the value for others so that you can get more. If you're not providing good value to the people you already have, then what are you doing? You're wasting people's time. If people gonna be scrolling on the Instagram, give them a good reason to scroll and not nonsense.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh, I sound like somebody grandma. This is like the teacher in me, the like Southern granny just coming out. What are you doing? Are you doing this for you? Or are you doing this because you ought to be doing this?
Like, we just took everybody to church, I'm pretty sure.
Amen.
Because also, like, reiterating what you said, we're both saying this for ourselves. Like, my brain is not magically fixed and better, because also these are like billion-dollar platforms that have built in order to make us feel this way so that we can earn them more money.
Correct.
So like, let's just remember that when we're feeling like, oh, we need to grow. Oh, we need to, because like all of us can compare, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that helped me was having conversations with people with bigger platforms and realizing this comes full circle when we first started talking about transactional selling versus relationships. And I feel like right now where I'm at, I have relationships with the people that I'm communicating with on the internet, right? I mean, obviously there's deeper ones and more surface level ones, like community members I'm talking to every day and we're sharing deep, deep stuff. But then also the DMs I get on Instagram, like I'm still having lovely conversation.
Right.
Whereas when you get into those mega numbers, I notice that it starts to become very transactional.
Yes.
It starts to become very like the people following you are consuming what you're putting out there in a very transactional way and start forgetting that there's a human on the other side. And I just think about how much more energy they're then spending on trying to deal with people that they don't have a relationship with. And then they're exhausted by it. And then this and then that. And I think like, I'd rather have slow growth and have relationships and have that be sustained. Like, I just want to get to a number where it's sustainable. I don't want to infinity and beyond.
Yeah. Cause like you can get to infinity and beyond and then what? And then what? What's next? The experience I'm having just in life in general, like, you know, you want to have the house, you want to do this, you want to do that, you get it. And then you're like, okay, well, what's next? Like, it's like you hit that success, what you perceive to be success. And then you get sad. Like, I don't know if you experience this. I feel like this is a general experience. Like,
there have been studies. This is scientifically proven.
yeah, like you hit that major thing that you've been really, really wanting. Like for me, that was buying a home. I wanted a home so bad. Like I finally got it. And then I was like, well, what else am I busted my ass for? I got it. And now what? Do I need a bigger house? And it's like, actually, Makeda, you do not need anything. Like, be happy with what you got right now. Like, enjoy the moment. And I feel like that's something incredibly hard for me to do. That's something I'm working on more so. It's just like being happy and experiencing contentment with what I have right now instead of always fighting for the next level of something. Because what is that rooting in? That to me, I'm like, this is a scarcity mindset I'm having. Like the fact that I need to have more and more and more and more and more all the time. It's like, no, let's tap into abundance. Look at all the beauty in all the things you have right now. Like, it's not normal for a millennial to own their home, and I'm a millennial that owns their home. Like,
and in DC, girl.
Like, what? Actually, I'm in Maryland. I had to get out of the city.
Well,
but it's close to damn enough. It's expensive.
Whatever. Don't do the thing that all of us women are prone to do of like you just talk down the accomplishment. Like we just made it a little bit smaller.
A little bit, but I see, and that's the thing. Those be the things. Like you get it, it's great. You diminish it, like, and it's so hard to like get out of that mindset. And that's like the thing that I'm currently working through a lot. It's just like, what is success? What is that? What does that even mean? What is it for me? What is it actually for me? Versus what is success for what my peers view around me? Like, am I doing this for myself? Do I actually want this, or do I want to be perceived a certain way?
I'm making these sounds now because I'm feeling all of the things inside of my body, because this is literally exactly what I have been going through the last couple of years, and taking a cold, hard look at like what I was striving for in the event industry and what those perceived successes were and how to climb that ladder, and realizing when everything actually paused in 2020 of like, none of those are my values. Like in that world, the perceived success is like getting published in a magazine and all of this, and like multi-million-dollar events, like all this stuff. I don't care what designer you're wearing in the gown. Like, I don't care who made your gown. Do you feel pretty in it? Do you feel confident?
Yeah.
Cool. Is it a suit? You know, like, gender be damned. I don't care. Whatever you're wearing makes you feel better about who you are as a human. It doesn't matter if it came from J. Crew or the Kleinfelds or whatever, or Target. Yeah. Shit.
We love Target.
Both just said Target. You know? And it was that pause of realizing like, so many of those goals were wrapped up in exactly what you just said, the perception of what everybody else thought was successful. I was just talking to a friend of mine who had gotten a really, really lovely manicure. And I was laughing because I took a picture. We were texting. I took a picture and sent her a picture of my hands because I had just been in the studio. And she's like appalled, right? Because I have this iron rich clay is like in my cuticles, under my nails, everywhere. And she's like, oh my gosh. And for her, the value is that self-care of going. That was a value for her, and that is real for her. And I was like, no, Ashley, like, I'm happy. This is what I want my hands to look like. And she was like, who are you and what have you done?
Yeah. I went through a whole year of like, I was getting my nails did. I was like, yes, and I'm gonna do pottery. And then I was like, baby girl, no, you're spending too much damn money. It's like your nails are cute, but then you're mad because you don't want to like mess them up when you're like doing stuff. And then it's like, you have to settle for the short nail because the long situations, we can't have click clacks when you're trying to like throw and do all the things.
Hope Lemansky's about to come into our DMs and be like, let me show you. Yes, you can.
You can, but I'm not about to do it. I already know myself. Like, if I'm going to get a nice manicure, I'm not doing something for the next month. Like, leave me alone. Like,
I have a hard enough time just texting. I mean, like, I see some people and I'm like, how do you even like open a jar?
They have tutorials on TikTok on how to do it because I was one of those people learning how to pop the soda can open with them long ass nails. A whole mess. I did not need to be doing that. But that's also because I wanted to feel like the pretty girl, right? Like I wanted to feel a certain way. And I realized that's really not a part of my values either. Like I like dirt under my fingernails and I like to have short nails. Like get it when it's a treat. It can be a treat for me and that's fine for me. And I just had to take ownership over that. And if I want to feel like the pretty girl, I just wear my cute earrings. I feel real cute. Like there are other ways to get that feeling or that emotion that you want to have. Like, and figuring out what that is for you is just what's important. Like my self-care is not everyone else's self-care or like beauty routine. And I feel like sometimes I get caught up into that too. Like I want to look a certain way. I want to do certain things. It's like, do I actually want to? Or is this for other people? So even take that same energy into your business. Like, am I making this art because I like it and there are people out there that want to consume what I like to make? Or am I just pumping this out because I want to make $1 real quick? If you want to do that, get a manufacturer.
There are easier ways.
There are easier ways to do this. Like, just know what your values are and know what you want and take ownership of that. And I think that'll help you. You just got to be real.
And at the same time, I will say there could be some people out there, because this is me sometimes, that I'm more interested in just the act of making and also having the autonomy of my time, that I don't mind if I have to make an endless number of giant mugs or an endless number of dog bowls, and that's not art with a capital A. I'm putting thought into it, but I'm not like exploring new ideas with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you better believe that those things sell really well. And
these earrings, I wasn't getting into art to be a friggin' jeweler, but like, hey, like it's wearable art. People like it. It's, something you can consume and wear every day. It's functional. Like I loved being able to be a part of people's everyday life, but I also like to make weird, creepy things in my free time too.
And so I think and that's what I was getting at. I think there are spaces where there are things that you can make that don't consume your energy in a negative way, but maybe aren't your just the reality for those of us that are doing this full time. There might be some stuff that you just make and you can make with your eyes closed, and you don't go get a production team, but it keeps the lights on. But at the same time, they have to not be, I'm trying to think of a more negative verb of like drawing energy. They're not
be like a time suck or just like an energy suck. Like you have, like, at least for me, I can crank out earrings in my sleep. Like that's not a problem. It's not hard to do. I like doing it because it's mindless. It's like a nice, like, it's like meditative for me to be able to produce it. But do I feel like, oh my God, this is the most grand work of art? No, but it's cute and people feel cute when they wear it. And I like that feeling that people get too. Like,
I have a funny story. and it feels a little too early to share publicly because I have no idea where this is going to go, but here we are. We had somebody recently buy a giant mug on Etsy. And look, our giant mugs are not like, these are not the things Francesco is proud of for his skills of 10 years of doing this. This is not the thing that we want to be on a pedestal somewhere saying, look, we make 24-ounce mugs. Like, no, these are the things that give us a little bit of assurance of what income is coming in and pays the water bill. That's the purpose. That's their goal. That is earrings for you. But I just saw in one of the billing addresses, it's going to the offices that produce ceramics monthly. And I was like, please don't tell me that the first time we're ever it's exciting. Because it had the name of the business and the address. And I was like, wait a second, what is this ceramics organization in Ohio? And I'm like,
about to be on a magazine for your mug.
But the giant mug?
Yo, I feel you.
This is not our emerging artist moment. This is our this is how we pay the bills moment.
I mean, that might be the money maker though. You never know. That also is the thing. I'm known for earrings. I'm like, dude, I used to make ceramic busts, giant ones.
Well, you literally started this out talking about sculpture, and I was like, hold up, what?
No one would ever know because that's not what you're seeing. And I think that's people are like, oh yeah, Makeda, she makes earrings. And I'm like, at first I used to be like, no, but I make all these other things too. And I'm like, no, the earrings are the moment. Let them be the moment. Enjoy that, because guess what? You get to reinvent yourself as many times as you want. That's the fun part. We've seen a million Beyoncés, okay? We've seen all the eras. Let's just have fun and have all the different eras.
Yep. And coming full circle on this now, when it begins with relationships, you can switch to those eras, right? When it's transactional, nobody's coming along with you.
Yeah.
There's plenty of Instagram ads I get that maybe I have bought a pair of shoes from or something, but I have no ties to that company. I'm not committed to them in any kind of a way. Whereas with the people I have relationships with who I have also purchased something with, I mean, I've had this happen with myself. My first ever sales with ceramics came from my wedding clients. They hired me for photography. I mean, we're talking medium switches here, right? This isn't even, we're not saying, oh, we're going from production mugs to sculptural vessels. No. I'm going, they hired me to photograph their wedding, and then they bought a set of bowls from me.
Yeah, that's how it
because they support me.
You. Yeah, they want what you produce. They see the value of what you do. And I think that's the fun part. I think about even during my pregnancy, baby girl was tired, okay? I was not at capacity. I was not trying to do the most. And everyone was like, no, take your time. We love you. Just come back when you're done. Rest. Take care of yourself. The amount of love and support I received during my pregnancy, people, oh, what's your registry? You don't even know me like that. You've seen me 2 times at the farmer's market and you asked me about my registry. You give it to them and then they actually buy something off your registry. People are nice as hell, okay?
I'm so happy.
Yes, when I see the nicest customers / clients, people really be looking out for me. And I think that just is a testament to if you take care of your community will also take care of you.
Yes.
You got to take care of your people, even in the smallest ways. Give people hugs. Give somebody, if you need a hug, give that lady a hug. You see her looking sad, give her a damn hug, okay? Listen to the little kid that's 5 and just won't shut up. Let him talk. Let him talk. He a baby. He just want to talk. He's learning. Let people be themselves and be okay with them being themselves and just be a part of that. We're all in this bitch together. Just let things ride. Not everything has to be a big deal. Just take care of people.
I have so many more questions I want to ask you, but also I just feel like that's the mic drop, period, end of the sentence. This is what people need to focus on anyways. I was going to get back into all the tactical, okay, what's happening in your space, all this stuff. People can just go follow you on the internet to learn these things, I think.
which I'm happy to have people come and follow me.
Right. Speaking of which, where should they figure out everything that's going on when they're in the DC, Maryland area? Come check you out. What's happening?
Yeah. So subscribe to my email newsletter on sideofceramics.com. Follow me on Instagram. I'm funny. So you'll enjoy my stories. So I'm there. I have a TikTok. It's dry. Don't go there. But Instagram is cash money and that in the email list. And also just come see me in person. I'm at Side of Ceramics. I'm in Brooklyn Arts Walk, right off the Brooklyn CUA Metro, Red Line. I'm right in DC. Come get your veggies. Come say hi. You need to get groceries. Come on down. Get some good.
It's apple cider season. People are going to be out to the farmer's market.
The time, the pumpkins, the apples are real nice. They're doing their thing. And there's so many amazing artists at the Arts Walk, so you have plenty to do. And there's food and beer right down the street.
What more could people ask for, honestly?
Right, it's all you need.
Just take care of people. It sounds so simple, and yet to actually truly put it into practice can be a challenge. Can you find a way to take care of someone who's maybe not the right fit for your work, but has somehow wandered into your store or booth or pop-up space anyway? Can you find a way to take care of someone who maybe would love to buy your work in the future, but not right now? Not today, when they've just met you. It's just not the right time. Can you find a way to take care of someone regardless of trying to sell them the thing that you're selling? Here's a quick, fun example with a happy ending. And I want to admit, it doesn't always work out this way. But earlier this summer, at one of our 5 weekends in a row of art shows, a grandmother and a granddaughter walked by our booth. Grandma was very interested in our display at the front of the booth, and her granddaughter was clearly looking at the exit, as our booth was very near the end of the show. So she just plopped herself right down on the ground, on the asphalt, in the middle of the booth, and kind of started picking at the ground. Of course, Grandma right away said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and started to walk towards getting her out. I immediately said, "No worries, she's fine," and squatted down next to her to have a conversation about what she saw on the ground, what she'd seen that day, what was her favorite, what didn't she like, were her feet tired? I'm pretty decent at 6-year-old small talk thanks to years of babysitting and nannying, so this wasn't a big deal for me. I barely spoke 2 words to Grandma. And while she clearly loved our aesthetic and told us as much, she ultimately just took a business card and walked away without purchasing anything. Bummer, but what are you going to do? Fast forward a few weeks later, we get an email from Grandma. And after helping her through some decisions where she kind of talked herself out of getting quite as much as she wanted, we are now currently working on a custom set of dishes for her. As I said, not quite as many pieces as she had initially asked about, but a starter grouping to convince her husband, frankly, of a larger order down the road. What would have happened if I had not chatted with her granddaughter? If Grandma would have been distracted by keeping this young child entertained instead of just having a minute to pick up the pots and hold them in their hands and dream a little bit because I was chatting with her granddaughter. By no means does this happen every time. In fact, it doesn't even happen half the time, at least based on our experience from all the shows this past year. But I agree wholeheartedly with Makeda. I'd rather someone walk away feeling good about their interaction with us, regardless of the sales outcome. And if you're playing the long game, that's going to work out for the best. My friends, we are diving into a crazy time of year for many of us. Whether you are in full production mode as you work to take advantage of the holiday buying season, or whether you're watching other makers online feeling like you should be in crazy production mode, but maybe that's just not where you're at right now. Both of these things are okay. Both come with a lot of mental stuff to sort through, and plenty of pressure we put on ourselves in the quiet of our own minds as we scroll through the highlight reels on Instagram of what everyone else is doing. If you'd like to have deeper conversations with other makers, more than we can really do in the comment section of a reel or amidst the noise of everything happening on Facebook, I'd love for you to consider joining us over inside of the community. It's a place to connect with fellow makers from all over the world, a place where you don't need to explain this pull towards needing to make, because we all feel that same urge and want to figure out how to find more time in our days to do the same thing. The community is an online home for all of us, beginners and veterans, full-timers and side hustlers, to help each other figure out how the heck to make a living from the things we make. You can learn more at makersplaybook.com/community, or feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram at @themakersplaybook if you have any other questions. I would love to see you inside this very special group that's lifting each other up on the hard days and celebrating with each other on the good days. Once again, this episode was made possible in part thanks to our sponsor, Amoco.
Hi, I'm Cammie, the purchasing manager at Amoco, providing you with everything you need for clay. This episode is brought to you by Amoco Brent. Find your favorite Amoco glaze or Brent equipment at your local distributor. Happy glazing!
Audio post-production of this podcast is made possible by help from Christy Kotzfan, with promotional material assistance from Queenie Maliki. The Maker's Playbook podcast is recorded on the original homelands of the Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee people, where the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. Until next time, my friends, go get back to making your dreams a reality, because together, we've got this.